Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and you lose you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy. Darling. Light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
I forgot to bring my fedora, dude. I wanted to wear my fedora. I mean, I was just gonna look like the neckbeard meme in a fedora, like hello, hello, yes, madam. But
do you actually own a fedora?
I wish, dude. I did. So no. I wasn't one of those I didn't get one from Hot Topic. I got one from my grandpa. It was legit, fedora. It's not even. It was actually a legit fedora. And it wasn't the, oh, hell yeah, everybody.
It's not a fedora, but
it's close enough, though.
I gotta wear my hat now.
It's close, dude. It's close enough. That looks good. That's like a hybrid of the fedora and a kind of a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
You look like you're going to, fucking Coachella.
They say it's my I can't wear that, though, with these headphones.
No, but it looked good, dude. That's what I wish I could, why can't I pull off a trench coat and a hat, dude? I gotta dress for the job that I want.
I don't think anyone can wear a trench coat these days. everyone's gonna think you're gonna shoot up the place.
That is actually, oh god, yeah, that's true. Yeah, they gave it a bad name.
I know, it's ruined.
I miss it. Dude, I used to smoke my rolled cigarettes.
This is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. That's Jordan. I'm Levi. Rolled cigarettes.
Yeah.
You might be wondering why we're talking about trench coats and fedoras.
Well, dude, and it's you have the fedora down over your eyes, and so you just look down, dude, and you look so fucking menacing and cool.
Perfect. I think you can pull it off, though. Yeah,
I know. Well, no, I gotta lose some weight, dude. There's no fat guy in a fedora looks good, man.
That's true. I'm too bearded. You never see. It's always chiseled, sharp-jawed men. With exactly. So,
yeah.
You might be wondering why we're talking about fedoras and trench coats, and so today, if you've been listening at all, you know we're talking about directors, and for the while, and this week we done the Coen Bros, and we voted on and are talking about and watched Miller's Crossing.
Miller's Crossing
is the one.
Well, and this is wild. It's funny that you just said we're doing directors, and you were about to say this month, but this is eclipsed.
It's been almost 2 months almost.
Yeah, I mean by the end of this month, we're wrapping up with directors.
We just didn't want to stop. We did the first 4, and we're like, but there's so many we haven't done. We honestly could just do directors forever.
I mean, we could start doing directors for until October or something. But I think that a smooth transition to another genre will be fantastic.
Oh yeah, next month we're gonna do something. We're gonna do a sci-fi or something. So
yeah, something
is what I mentioned for. So,
but you know what? We don't have sci-fi today, baby. We have hardcore crime comedy drama. That's what we have right now. That's what we're talking about.
It's interesting because it's genre wise, it's this movie is technically a gangster movie, but I can not wrap my head around that almost because it feels 100% just like a noir film to me. It doesn't feel like a 30s gangster movie. It feels like you make him a private eye and you set it in the 40s or something. Obviously it changes it, but it's so noir inspired. It's painful in the best way.
but I think it is both. I mean, that's in my review. I said that the Coen Brothers, whatever genre they borrow from, they elevate it and they adapt it and they bring something new to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely inspired by noirs and just in general hard, just fast talking, hardened detective, fucking jawing from the detective novels and detective movies of
right
40s and 50s.
It's just the romanticized version of the 30s and how people would it's almost like I wrote down a bunch of the idioms and a bunch of the slang that they used, and I'm just I love it, dude. It's so well researched.
Yeah.
And some are just amazing,
God,
dude.
What is it? I was gonna say it and I forgot what. Every time they see each other, they're like, "What's the?" What's the dangle? What is it? What is it? What do they say?
Oh, I don't know.
What
I
is
didn't.
it?
I didn't write that one
That
down.
was the one
but
I was
best one-
gonna write down because they say it like 100 times. Oh my god.
No, dude. They said you're gonna give me the middle. That was a really good one.
Dude.
And then your pool would dry up when he's talking to the girl. That's a really good one. And then give me the hi hat. That was like that was Casper's like saying for like if someone's like pulling his leg or like fucking trying to like pull one over on him, he'd be like, "You're giving me the hi hat," or even if it's just someone was like giving him sass.
Yeah. No, it's like when you're trying to be a smart ass and give them shit.
Yeah.
For those who need a refresher, did you write a synopsis today?
No, I'm a bad boy. I didn't finish it.
You didn't
it's like,
finish it. You said you
it's-
were writing it.
I know I was writing it, and I got like the 3 paragraphs down, and then like they just became like wild ramblings, and so I don't really like. At one point, I call him Tommy Longlegs because he's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just like it's a.
No,
it's like a
what's
it's
the
a silly
what's
bit of
the
fun.
rumpus? They say it like 100 times. They're like, "Hey, what's the rumpus?" Like every
the
time they
rumpus,
see
dude?
someone, "What's the rumpus? What's up?" You know, that's right.
Oh, that's so good. Well, there were so many, dude. That's just
so
the
many.
thing. Like
There's so
every
many.
scene had them riffing. But
All right, so
I can give.
Jordan's
I think I
gonna
can give like
explain
a.
the plot for the next 25 minutes. Let's see.
No. I'm gonna try to keep this to like 60 seconds, and I'll give just kind of like a quick abridged version of what is going on. Miller's Crossing. The main players are Tommy and sorry I forgot the names right here because it's Tommy and Leo. They work together. Leo he's the head honcho, and he's been running all the rackets, and he has control of the mayor and the police force in the city. And Tommy's kind of his like right hand man. You know, like the he's like the boots on the ground. He kind of like goes around and he gets deals done. Well, Casper, he's a new up and coming kind of like crime boss syndicate dude who wants to like kind of muscle his way into the racket, into everything. And he is a little more hot-headed. And I don't know, him and Leo, they have friction. Yeah, no, I lost it again, man. I can't even get there. There's so many. It's like it's wild because there's so
It's
many
like
people.
The movie
but
hasn't even started yet. It's like,
no, I mean
know.
that's the whole thing, dude. Like the main thing, the movie opens up with Leo and Casper having a dispute about letting Casper kill somebody, getting permission from Leo to kill
Bernie.
Bernie. It's Bernie Birnbaum, but I can't remember why. So that's just. That's where I'm like, well, I don't even remember why they want him dead.
He's selling out his info on his fixes, and
Yeah,
so it's
right.
like
Like, all the-
oversaturating. He's getting
'Cause
his
that's-
own nut on the fix information.
That's
for
the whole
fi-
thing.
The fights that are being fixed.
That's where I was
and
going to get
horse races
exactly.
and-
It's like so the racketeering that they do is it's all in gambling. So horses and fighting, other such cards, all that kind of like casino gambling, and it all takes place during the Prohibition. So it's all kind of like you know, speakeasy style, but then just kind of like private clubs.
down the
And-
open because they're powerful, but then
Right,
every
they're
now and again
powerful.
you're definitely reminded that this is Prohibition.
But how it's working, right? Because and they talk about like how some alcohol tastes like shit and some's great because you know you're getting better product. But anyways, Casper and Leo, they both just basically they're just neck and neck for power, and the power dynamic shifts every once in a while. And Tom's kind of right in the middle of all of this, and Verna is the love interest, and that she kind of gets peppered throughout this movie because Tom and Verna, they're sleeping with each other, but Verna is Leo, the head boss's kind of like main squeeze. It's like that's who he's
Verna
like.
is Bernie's sister. That's
Is Bernie's
why
sister.
Leo won't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
moving pieces.
It is, and but it's funny because it's pretty simple to follow. Like
It is because it's
just
like
kind
the
of
plot
it feels
is not like
rushed at the end.
super important.
No,
Like
No, right,
it
it's
is, but it's
mainly
more
just-
about like the vibes.
it's
and
the
flow
it's
and
the vibes and the character study of Tom.
Yeah,
because Tom's kind of like he's like
it's the emotions.
he's a conflicted.
It's how personal everything. It's like all these. I mean, we watched Godfather recently, and it's like so many
Right.
times that like a big theme that comes around in like mobster and gangster movies. It's like, oh no, it's business. It's all business. But it's just like, motherfucker, this ain't business. This is so personal. And that's how this movie is too. They're just like, you're trying to push me out, but really it's just like, oh, we love the same woman. And,
and what's really refreshing, I
love
about
you.
this
You're
is,
like a dad to me.
It is like, yeah, exactly. They don't, like, Leo's kind of like, yeah, I'll get business done. Like, he's like, I love that how he's like, a quote he says is like, I can trade body blows with anybody except you, Tommy. Yeah. And it's like, it's great. You can tell like they have love, and it isn't just business. Like, it's like super personal.
No, I love their relationship. Like,
but
really
so what happens in the plot, which causes like conflict, is like Tommy and Leo. Tommy admits that he's with Verna, and then it like causes a rift, and it causes Tommy to go work for Casper. But it's kind of a little unclear, but apparently Tommy was doing this I think he was doing it all along, but only because he kind of just like fucking...
He kind of plays double agent a little bit. He gets in there,
but I think he kind of
like
stumbled through it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right, exactly. And so, and he comes in, he gains the trust of Casper. He unravels Casper's whole crew and his whole thing that's going on. Because he's a really good wordsmith, and he gets Casper twisted, and so Casper like kills his henchman, his right hand man.
Yeah,
that's the Dane, who's like, he's just like completely all muscle, very sinister. Yeah. But anyways, I don't know. And then Tom has to like pretend to kill Bernie Birnbaum, but he doesn't let that happen. And then that's kind of a funny little plot line, because like John Turturro like wants to come like blackmail him, but then like he's kind of like, oh, we both have this, and then that felt kind of rushed at the end, which is a bummer. But John Turturro kills Casper, Bernie kills Casper, and then Tom kills Bernie, and for some reason I wasn't 100% sure why. And then that breaks Verna's heart, and so Verna goes with Leo, and they get married, and then the end is just like a sullen goodbye where Leo and Tom are, at the gravesite, and like Tom begs for him to be his friend again, or Leo begs for Tom to be his friend again, and then Tom just kind of blows him off because he's a cool dude. Yeah. So I don't really know. I didn't really like that's what sucks. The ending got super rushed.
See, I don't know I agree that it may be a smidge rushed. That it's like the climax is kind of just really quick right there, but there's a good build up to it, but it just, when it gets there, it really happens fast. But I really
why would he kill Bernie? I don't remember.
I think it's just
because the motive.
At this point, he did straight up say he's a man of his word, and he said, if I see you again, you're dead. And also, just like, I feel like it's like the whole point of this movie, I feel like, for me anyway, was it's about love and how personal it all fucking is, because it's like Tommy loves Leo like a fucking, kind of like a father figure, like they're close, and then he also loves Verna, but he gets himself in this situation, and I don't think it's really intentional at all, especially since he, out of the kindness of his heart, he lets Bernie live earlier, but in order to fix everything, he has to like lose that part of him. And so it's just like, earlier on, he's like, look into your heart, and he lets him go. But then slowly he's having to do all these things and manipulate people and get people killed and get his hands dirty, that by the end of it, he kills him, and he's like, look into your heart. And he's like, what heart? Like, boom, it's gone.
That's
again.
A great line. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's just like, I think that's a huge change in Tom's character, and for the worse. And that's why by the end of it, he loved Verna and Leo so much, but he kind of destroyed his relationship with them in order to kind of save them. It's kind of how I looked at it down the road, and so it's just like more so, and like he tries to play it cold, and then the last shot ends with him being like, bite down the emotions, Tommy. You know what I mean?
Striking that pose. Yeah.
He's just trying to bite him back, but it's very much, it's kind of, I feel like that's why he wastes him, is just because it's just like, I tried to do a kind thing for you, literally out of the kindness of my heart, and look where that fucking got me, and you think I'm gonna let you just manipulate me again by saying literally the same exact words?
Well, and I guess that's the emotional, and then I think the strategic aspect is like,
well, yeah,
he needed somebody dead because Casper,
it all works into, it kind of
Leo
becomes
too.
a plan, but
he did it for Leo, right? It becomes a plan because
he never intended to like
Yeah,
like he was gonna kill Leo
orchestrate that.
and then like didn't kill him. Like he's not like a mastermind in that way.
No,
But he was
no,
like,
it just kind of
"Oh,
worked. Which
my two enemies, I can sick them on each other because he does manipulate them and manipulates Casper into thinking Dane is playing him when he's not. You know what I mean? The Dane.
well, dude, this is what the Coen Brothers do perfectly. They write it where people kind of like fail upwards in their movies. Like
That's true.
I love that constantly. Like Burn After Reading is one of the greatest examples of failing
yeah, I really
upwards.
like that
Like, it's just so like it's so good. Like I love
Well, that
their
movie's
characters
actually
how they write
got
them.
a pretty similar vibe too, where it's just like all
Yeah.
this like chaos and like you think it's a conspiracy, but it's really just like
Right,
part of
it's
it
like-
is, but part of it's just mistakes that just
Yeah.
compound on each other. That
Yeah.
like the end of Burn After Reading, spoiler, they're like, wait, so what's happening? And he's
What was-
like, yeah,
what was
this guy killed his his lover's husband or whatever. And they're like, oh, okay, what? like why?
Yeah. Right. Like the info they thought they had is like worthless.
Yeah,
like, or just
exactly.
like it's like and they do that a lot. Even Big Lebowski's got that. Like
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
God, they write their characters so well that where like it's like they're very opportunistic. Oh my God, what's that word?
Yeah, opportunistic.
Opportunistic, where like if something happens, because that's I guess that makes sense. Is like when he like shot him in the head, he realized I give the two guns.
Yeah, like
That's
he's
what happened.
that's the thing.
There's the
Tommy,
moving pieces.
he's like
Then the emotion
he's
of it.
He's not a mastermind, but he's smart enough to realize like he does plan some shit. He does manipulate Casper against the Dane to like kind of do that, and he manipulates.
Yeah.
Casper and Bernie coming together to hopefully take each other out. Like he manipulates that because he can see those like things, but he's not like. But it's because he's an opportunist. He finds himself in a situation, and he's like, "How can I use this situation?" But at the end of the day, he gets his hands dirty and diminishes himself to, help the ones he loves, even if he destroys his relationship with them in the process. Verna thinks he's a fucking bastard. Tommy is like, or Leo is like, wants him back, but also it's like there's a scar on them now with the whole love triangle thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, but and that's where I think that's what like Tom's an interesting character because he's not a good. He's almost borderline anti-hero. He doesn't like just because he doesn't murder people, he's still just kind of a gambling kind of like schmoozer who like just kind of steals from people and manipulates people and uses people.
Damn.
He's not the greatest guy, and so I think that at the end was kind of his redemption for like all the shitty things he's done. It's like
I
trying to get
think
back.
so
But
too,
I-
kind of a little bit, even though he's just
Yeah.
kind of like had a
Well,
becomes-
this was your first time,
Right, yes. You as well, right? I think
Yes.
that's why we were both excited, is because we obviously love the Coen Bros, and this is one that neither of us have seen, and so I was absolutely giddy with this movie. I'm kind of sad I didn't get to watch it all in one sitting, and so I feel like I lost some plot threads because I did break it up into like 3 different viewings, and but like you said, it's not like so complicated. I'm sure there's nuances.
No.
That like maybe on a repeat viewing that would be like, oh, okay, like that's a small little bit, but I had a blast. Like this movie was just fun. I thought it moved at a fun pace. The fucking dialogue is by far its crowning jewel. Is so good.
Dude,
And the delivery
100%.
of it is so good, but the writing of it's fucking
The
great.
writing, it's like the Coen Brothers have consistently made fantastic films, and it's like their writing is I think their writing's their strong suit.
Yeah.
But I think this is so it has such a mark of like their early 90s, and like that I always forget the Coen Brothers.
That's
They
their-
started in the 80s.
That's their
Dude,
era
it's
for
wild
me, though,
to
man,
forget
like-
the 90s, yes.
Because I was thinking Coen Bros. I'm like, what is my favorite Coen Bros. Movie? Because this movie shot near the top of my list. I really, really loved it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is top 3 probably at least. But then I'm like, what's number 1? Because I'm like, No Country is their magnum opus. I don't know.
That's
if it's
my favorite.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely their best.
It's mine,
But,
but
man,
it's like
I don't know. I think my
It's just
favorite
because
is
it's so strong, but-
can you guess? I was gonna guess that yours was
yeah.
No Country for Old Men. Can you
Mine's-
guess mine?
Yeah, mine's No Country, dude. It's actually kind of hard. I wouldn't be surprised if you said Fargo, but I don't know, man. Yeah, see, looking at all their pieces, it's like, yeah, I'd probably say Fargo, but what is it?
You know, it's funny. I've only seen Fargo once, and I wasn't that impressed with it.
Wow. Okay.
I want to watch it again though. Because I watched it. I haven't seen Fargo in 15 years, and I watched it. And I was like, yeah, that was fine. It was a little hyped up for me though.
Okay.
My top dog, and I don't know, it might be Miller's Crossing now, but my top dog is and has been Raising Arizona.
Oh, okay, that's so funny.
I fucking love that movie. But it is so different for them. Like it's got, like it's screwball, but everything else is like a blend. But that movie's just straight up screwball. But that movie just cracks my shit up.
Well, dude, that's what's so sick is like they went Blood Simple, Raising Arizona,
And
Miller's
this.
Crossing,
Yeah.
and like they literally just like every movie that, and that's where I think like even with No Country, how tight that is, I still feel like you know their next like big thing. I mean, I don't know. I guess they had a lot of great, because like Burn After Reading came out right after that. I haven't seen A Serious Man, and True Grit was fine, and I loved Inside Llewyn Davis.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, dude. I mean, I just feel like The Ballad of Buster Scruggs was
Loved it.
awesome.
You gotta
and
you gotta
so-
see Barton Fink. I really like, because I watched that for
Well,
the first
do you
time
know what's fun?
recently,
This
and
is-
I really liked it.
Yeah, this is one of my fun facts. They wrote Blood Simple and Raising Arizona, and they did all those movies, and like those came really easy to them. Well, they were writing Miller's Crossing, because if it's 87 to 90, and they spent a year writing Miller's Crossing, and they just kept getting writer's block, so they wrote Barton Fink about writer's block,
Hilarious,
about writers,
screenwriters, yeah.
you know, about like, and just how fucking absurd it gets, and like, you know, and they're just like they're beautiful. Like they write like these like, you know, just huge sweeping epic like movies that take place like in a room, or like that take place like, you know, with just a few characters. And anyway, so they wrote Barton Fink, and then came back to Miller's Crossing and did that one, and then shot Barton Fink. It's like it's so cool, and dude. I love Hudsucker Proxy is pretty high up there too.
I need to see it again, because I did really like it.
Like no country just like it is like perfect. I can't, you know, like
it's their opus.
It just
like I
is.
say, you know,
It
that's
is.
that's their opus. But
yeah, like
but
I
something
don't know.
about,
It's
you know
just
me.
so perfect, but-
Well, both of us anyway. We both got a pretty hard on for noir. And one of my early movies that I saw for them was The Man with No Name. Is that what it is? Am I spacing it? With Billy Bob? What's that one?
Yeah. The Man Who Wasn't There.
The Man Who Wasn't
the Man
There.
Who Wasn't There. That's it.
I'm like,
And that's a sleeper, dude. That's like a hidden
That's a
gem
sleeper.
from them, also, dude.
But,
like, that's a great movie.
That's like their love for noir is so apparent, but in this it's just like just the dialogue and is so good, and like the plot does come together. But I know a lot of people, you want to get into I know a lot of people's qualms is the tone of like, is
Right.
this a hard-boiled violent type Godfather you know, gangster movie, or is this like want to be kind of a comedy? And
It's the Coen Brothers. They do that. It's the whiplash between they can go heartfelt and like brooding and really epic, and like they do like, so for me it's like the first action scene in this movie is the like assassination attempt on
the
on
Danny Boy
Leo.
scene, which is so fucking
Danny
cool.
Boy. That is holy shit. Okay,
It's
I
so
got a
good.
couple things to say about that scene real quick. They do the Kill Bill shot, which I'm like, oh my god, that's like way before Quentin Tarantino,
Yeah.
where he like shoots his leg and he falls down and he blasts his brains out.
And it's like the violence that was just like, because
The
it's just like
violence.
that
But even
headshot
that-
was primo.
That headshot is primo, and then even the squibs. It's like what they do is they know their comedic beats really well. They like draw it out, like, because that when he's using the Tommy gun, like the fact that like the Tommy gun never runs out of bullets, and then B, all the squibs that they use, like it's like they're doing it. They're just having like a lot of fun.
Well, that's-
and they're keeping
that's
this
the
like
whole
serious
thing.
tone, but then it's just like look at how like grotesque and how violent this is, but it's so comical, and he's just like getting blasted with
I
all
think
those
it's just
squibs,
'cause it's
and
like
he's
they-
shooting the gun.
They can't
and so
resist
even that's
themselves,
like comedic,
you know what I mean? It's like it's
right?
it's like being broody and cool is like part of the goal, but it's just like when they're having fun, like this movie, like I don't know, it's like a lot of films, like people always got to think if it's serious, then it needs to be played like very close to real life. And it's like, no, dude, this is heightened reality. Yeah. This is a fiction.
It's a movie.
This is a fable that they're telling in this universe. And so they're like, yeah, he's a gangster badass. He doesn't run out of ammo because that's dumb. I don't want to put that in my movie. Like,
no, right.
It's when someone gets shot, they literally do this for like 5 minutes, which is because it's hilarious. And it's just like, put it in. You know what I mean? It's
right. Well, and it is like, it is such a, that's what I'm saying is like when they take on the genre and then adapt it, they bring something fresh and new every single time they do that. And it's like, they basically are like, they pay homage and then they go like, well, what if we just take it one step further?
Yeah.
Because it's like the shootout scene in Godfather's sick, dude. When he comes and kills his brother, kills the son, you know, and it's just like, that's like bullets are flying, but it's got such a serious tone because it goes immediately to the morgue afterwards in Godfather. And so it's like, it has such a serious tone, but in this,
my boy, you know.
Right. Yeah. In this, it has such a like bravado. Like he just like the next scene, he's like got his cigar, you know.
Of it too, you know what I mean? It's like, well, that's a nature that they've later become even more familiar with, or more known for, is their like slightly surreal in nature, which has always been there. And so I think in this, it's just like, again, it's like, it's this gangster movie, but emphasis on movie. It's like this heightened version. So things get kind of wacky, and it's like it's fast and fun, but then it's punctuated by these extreme violence to let you know that like this is fun, but there's stakes, and it's just cool because it's like violence is cool. Like,
I know. Well, it's kind of funny. I'm like, why do I like
movie violence is cool?
I was busting. Yes, right. Of course.
Be violent.
We want everyone to be safe. But it's like practice consent because it's like if you're boxing or something, that's fine. But it's like, anyways, I was cracking up, and not because I thought it was ridiculously like poorly done. I was just laughing because they're just like they're riddling him with bullets, and it's so creative. That's what I love is like they set up such creative scenes where he like gets shot and like the gun comes back down and shoots across his feet, and it's like it's so ridiculous, but it actually kind of like makes me laugh and cringe at the same time. Like I'm like, oh god,
it's like
that's brutal.
It's brutal, but it's like a little satirical of like those kinds of movies.
I mean,
you know what I mean? 'Cause it happens again.
Another scene, well, right
to
and
Sam Raimi, which is the best part. Did you recognize that was Sam Raimi?
That's Sam Raimi.
So later, I was like, who is that? That the guy looks super familiar. And then I saw him again. I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking Sam Raimi. So later, when the cops, like, they throw the bomb into that bodega restaurant or whatever.
I know. I remember the dude who's like got the two guns.
He's got the
blasting.
2 guns. That's Sam
Raimi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. I didn't recognize him. Well, dude, it's wild. So Sam Raimi's uncredited, and Norma McDonald.
I know.
Norma McDonald.
Frances McDormand.
Frances McDonald. What am I? Oh, Norman. Norman, not the comedian.
Yeah.
Duh. No, Frances. Yeah, Frances McDonald was.
Can you imagine if Norma McDonald was in this? He's just like the Dane or something.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that'd be sick.
That'd be great.
But anyways, yeah, Frances McDormand. Which, like, when I saw her, I was like, wait a minute.
It took me a second to recognize her too, because she's so gangly and young.
And I'm surprised she didn't get like the main role, truthfully, because she's in Raising, right? Isn't she the? No, I'm spacing out.
No, that's.
Oh no, she's not.
Helen
no,
Hunt
she's not.
or whatever, right?
Oh, that's Helen. You're right. Oh, then what else is she in? I don't think she was in anything.
No, because she's married to one of the brothers. I don't know even which one. Ethan or Joel. Maybe both.
She comes. Well, who knows? Yeah, they're the brothers, so they do that.
They're the same person to me. I don't know.
Well, their IMDb credits are funny too because they both have. Or Ethan has.
Their credits
25.
are always funny because it's like
he has 25 directorial and Joel has 26 directorial credits, and you're like, okay, why? It's like just take them both. I don't know.
Yeah, like the Directors Guild and like awards in Hollywood, they're like only let one person direct until like recently, and so even though they directed everything together, they'd always like.
Oh no, she is in Raising Arizona.
Credit. She is, right? I thought she probably was.
Yeah, she's totally. She's a big part of it, right? Or maybe not. Am I tripping out, dude?
I don't know.
Oh my god, let me look real quick.
Anyway, this.
Yeah, she's in it. She plays Dot. Anyways,
this movie. There's so
I know.
many,
Sorry, I'm off the rails.
There is just so many. I don't know. So many moments. It's got like a pace to it because like even like Steve Buscemi, who is like ends up being a super important character, even though to the plot, even though he's only in like one scene pretty much, and his voice is in another. But it's just like, did you notice that offhanded? I had to I was paying attention, but it's just like that Bernie is definitely gay and is
Oh yeah,
has
Bernie
a
was gay.
relationship-
They kept saying that. Yeah,
it is, but it's interesting, like subtle, because it took me a minute to put the pieces together between because I was trying to figure out the connection between Bernie and the mink, who's
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi's character,
Yeah.
who then murders and uses his body in the woods.
Right.
Which that's, if anything, that's the one thing that's just the one thing in the movie where I'm like, yeah, well, that's convenient.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, I killed him and planted him there in my clothes, and that's lucky for you.
Yeah.
Because when they stumble across his body, I was like, wait, who is that? What is happening?
Oh, I didn't realize it was Mink. I thought it was a different.
No,
I thought it was a
he
different
says it
character.
later that it was
Right.
him, but it's like
It was over the phone, huh? So it was kind of just a throwaway.
Well, no, he says it when he comes back to his apartment to blackmail him.
Oh yeah.
Which is,
dude, can we talk about how
I
he's Batman?
I hated him so much in that moment. He's so fucking shady. Where he's just like, he let you live, you
Yeah.
fucker, and I think that's why he has to
He's
kill
so-
him.
He's so Weasley. Right. I
He's
know.
gotta kill him.
Yeah. Right. But it's like Coen's writes such good sympathetic characters because you feel for him. He feels like he has a play. I love that how he thinks he's got a play, but you can tell he's a little bit over his head. That's not this that mastermind stuff isn't his thing.
He's putting it all on the table, and
Yeah.
the confidence out there because he really doesn't have anything else. But he's like, all the eggs are in that basket, so I guess
Right.
I'm gonna start dining at restaurants unless you deal with my problems and all this.
Yeah. But I do. Yeah. I just love that how he always shows up in his house and he doesn't know he's there.
Can't say.
But,
oh no, go on.
well, I was gonna say another point to the borderline ridiculous violence in this. It's this movie does live in it's serious moments, and then they'll be punctuated with comedy. And I think one of the best is when Tom admits to Leo that he's been cheating with her, and he leaves, and it's I love how he's got all the bodyguards out there, and that's it's shot so well, dude. It's this movie looks beautiful, dude. We have to give credit to fucking the dude. Oh my god, now I can't even remember his name. He's a pretty big director too. What is his stupid name? It's right there.
This is a professional podcast.
Yeah,
We know. I remember
Yeah, I
it starts
know
with
where-
his last name starts with a B. I remember that.
It's Barry, yeah, Barry, Sonnenfeld or whatever.
Yeah.
Sonnenfeld. But he who directed I think Wild Wild West and Men in Black or something crazy. He's directed some wild stuff out there, which is so funny.
We were talking about him last when we were trying to decide what, because it came up. We're like, wait, yeah. Anyway, well, that's something for something.
Oh, he
else.
directed The Addams Family.
That's what
right.
we were talking
Anyways,
about because we're like,
okay.
wait, Tim Burton didn't direct it. It was this guy.
Yeah.
So that
I
guy
know,
shot this.
And he shot this, and that's
How
he's
weird.
a really good, and he shot a bunch of the Coen Brothers movies. And anyways, because they have a similar feel, but I love that shot is beautiful. But anyways, when he's getting punched and he gets punched down the stairs, and then when he gets punched into the crowd, and it's that completely 80-yard
woman,
the
yeah.
scream, and then the woman who's the pearl clutcher who hits him with the bag. It's
Well, there's
it's
so many.
comedic.
They
That's,
do something they do really well that I think the only person that really does it the best is Edgar Wright, which is they use comedy in action. Well, I mean these days anyway. I mean back in the day, Buster Keaton was on all action and it was all that. But in this, the Coens, they definitely have comedy for doing cuts and action is as the joke, and it's the one that got me is they're walking out of the place getting raided by the cops for the second time, which is always hilarious.
Yes,
but he grabs the bottle of whiskey right as the table gets flipped over and is chugging it.
Yeah,
and it's just
chugging
the
it.
way that's cut together is just that's fun. That's a good little visual joke,
Yeah, and
The way that
that's
it's
good.
done.
And then even when he goes out and he talks, every time he talks to the police chief's no one wants my opinion, no, whatever. And then it's big, big explosion happens, and they
and then
look,
it
and
just
but
totally
he's
turns into
but
a
Tommy,
shootout for a second.
but and Tommy's super nerves of steel, totally cool, and it adds to his character. He's cool. It's so
He
funny.
is
It's
cool. He's
he
always
never
nerves of
flinches,
steel, man. He can take a beating too. He's just
Yeah.
they whoop his ass and he's like, tell Lazar, no hard feelings. And he's like,
Oh,
come
no
on,
hard feel-
Tommy, he knows
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love.
Just
Yeah, I like
beat
it.
his ass in the hallway.
And I like when he gets beat up in the phone booth because the I think it's like Casper's, or no, it's not Casper's. It's Leo's like other liaison, like comes through, the dude with like the cool hair, and he like punches him, and he's like, "That's for Leo," and then he punches him again, and he's like, "Nah, that one was for me." Like I don't know, it's just like it's great. It's great writing. This is like really fun.
Yeah, it's pretty good, man. We haven't done this before, but I don't know if you have like a favorite shot. You're talking in the one in the hallway, but that just leads to the fun they're having again, because it's so cinematic and it's just so over the top. But there's a lot of over the top moments in this, and I think again that's like people want a movie to pick a lane. I like that it's kind of swerving all over the place.
Yeah,
but,
and I think they do it well.
When the Dane comes to Verna's apartment and is like confronting her, and then the bodyguards show up, and he like grabs her all in one motion and like whips around, and there's like his trench coat like flies up like fucking Batman, and it like if Dolly's in, he just like plugs the two guys, and the other guy through the wall, and then he like falls over through.
Oh, that's so sick, dude. That's such a that's where it's like I'm like that's so cool. Like Blood Simple does that too, where it's
cool.
like
that's
it's got some cool violence,
cool.
like
can a movie
know,
a movie can just be fucking cool, and you can do a thing because it's fun and cool.
It's deserved. Like this isn't like an Expendables.
They're trying to make it entertaining. They're not like
right.
They're at the end of the day, they're like, should we have him like in the edit room? Probably they're like, we should probably cut a couple seconds out of this guy getting riddled with bullets, right? And they're like, I don't know, man. I just think I'm watching it and I like it more the other way. Like I think it's kind of funny. They're like, all right, fuck it. Like, let's leave it.
Well, they got the squibs, so they're like, you can definitely tell they're like young too, and they're like, oh, let's just keep it all, and we got these squibs.
It's the same reason
they got a huge budget for this movie.
Django's the exact same. Django Unchained, Quentin Tarantino's the same exact way. That movie could not have more serious subject matter.
Right.
But it's like it's got fucking cartoon slapstick violence where people get shot and then fly 20 feet across the room with a bucket of blood. It's like,
yes,
it's because it's cool, man.
That's a great example too, because it's like even when like Jamie Foxx shows up and he's just like on the horse and he's like, "Hey, little lady," or whatever. You know, it's like it's just so sick, like such good one-liners. Yeah. And that this movie had a lot of that, where it's just like. Yeah. He's just, I don't know, whenever he's like in dialogue with the woman, like they're so witty, and then I like what it's like, oh, when the pressure's on, the wit dries up.
I know, I wish I could remember a lot of the lines off the top of my head, but I'm just so not that smart, because it's so fast and it's so every bit of words spoken is just like music, and they're just playing off each other. It's really, really great. And the performances are killer too, like I absolutely love John Turturro in everything, and he's great in this.
I got a post on Reddit. There's like an interview with John Turturro, and like he just goes through and he talks about all the most of the Coen Brother movies. He's like every Coen Brother movie he's been in, and then he talks about some other films. But he's so cool and he's so fun, and he's just like the Coen Brothers are so like collaborative, and like they really let him do what they want.
He rules in everything. Like you've seen The Night of, the miniseries, right?
Oh, dude, that's so good.
He's so good in that. And then if you haven't seen this other miniseries, oh my God, I'm spacing it. Is the one that David Simon did, but I'll have to look it up. Oh yeah, The Plot Against America. Oh, okay. Dude, please watch The Plot Against America. It's like alternate 40s history. It's really good. But but man, John Turturro rules. But you know what was melting my brain watching this though, because I couldn't quite place it, and I didn't look it up until after. I was like, who's Tommy? I can't, I know him from something, but I can't place it. And so I had to look it up after. And I did not even realize it. And it fucking blew my mind when I'm like, he's the dad from Hereditary. It didn't even click with me.
Oh my God.
He's the dad from Hereditary.
But it's because
it's 30 years, you know what I mean?
Drastically different. Yeah. I mean, that's even with John Turturro. I was like, God, he looks, he's probably like 22 in this movie.
I know. He's so
not even
cute and
like
young.
30. He's probably like 36 or 38. It's
but I was like, oh yeah, fucking Gabriel Bryan though. As soon as it clicked for me, I was like, what in the hell? But this movie's full of great. Like John Polito, the guy who played Casper, I thought he kind of stole the show. Like obviously he's just like over the top, but I loved. Oh yeah. His character was great too, because it's like he's always talking about ethics and everything, but yet it's like he's in the business of literally fixing gambling, and like he's like smacks his kid around and everything. It's like, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
about ethics, you know.
It's about ethics. What I love how he's like, you gotta be firm, like with the discipline of the kid, and it's like, it's great, dude. All his interactions with his kid, and like, I don't know, yeah, it's pretty fun to see his like silliness, and then I love that he's in other Coen Brothers movies too. That's what I love. I love when directors do that. They like keep a rotating cast.
Yeah, because he's in like Oh Brother, right? And I'm trying to remember what else, but I don't know, man. I'm worried. I'm hoping that this movie stands up on a rewatch. I'm really glad.
Yeah.
So I was pissed for the first half, sort of. So I was pissed because I knew from all the marketing material, and like, it's not like I was even alive when this movie came out, but it's like all the marketing material for the poster, the cover, it's all Tommy walking John Turturro out into the woods into Miller's Crossing.
Into Miller's Crossing,
And so for the first half of the movie, I'm like, I know that he's going to take him out there to kill him. And so I was kind of annoyed that I'm like, why would they spoil it? And then it happens halfway through the movie, so I'm like, oh, okay. And then he doesn't kill him. I was like, oh, okay, that's a good like subversion. And then it's like how that comes back to bite him in the ass, though. I was very joyed by that. So, but I really love this movie. I'm gonna have to watch it again for sure because I can see it going either way. I can see me like really being like, oh man, I really love this, and now I understand the plot more, and I can focus more on like the dialogue easier and stuff like that, and so I'll like it more or just as much. But I can also maybe see like some of the magic not being there as much the second time. So I'm gonna have to wait like a year or two, and we'll have to do like gangster movies and stuff, because we never really have actually done like mafia movies or something, but I'll rewatch it then because it's like I'd love to do like a Once Upon a Time in America or something.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah,
that's after watching this, it definitely got me into like the mood to watch watch a noir.
Well, and I've never seen, because we were talking also about possibly doing, and I'll put it on there. Maybe we'll do it next week. Talking about doing Brian De Palma, and he did Untouchables, which I've never seen.
Yeah.
And so, you haven't either. Oh yeah, well fuck, no. Maybe we do Brian De Palma, even though if we do, Scarface will win. Which
still, we'll put it up there.
I've said it there before. If we do Brian De Palma, I've never seen Scarface. That's probably the biggest movie for me. That's like, people are like, "What? You're a movie guy and you haven't seen that?" That and Schindler's List. But we talked about this before. Those are the big ones.
Right. And
Jordan's got 100 of them, so I don't feel that shameful.
Yeah, dude. There's plenty of movies I haven't seen. It's okay. We're
There's
all human.
so many movies out there, though. There's so many.
We're all
movies.
here watching. I mean, yeah, it's only like what is it? What did I look up again? It's like 3,000 movies get made a year since like the 90s.
Yeah,
Since
exactly.
since like 90s.
And that's just like here too.
Yeah, it's like take your time. Watch the good ones. Watch the ones that stand out. That's what's nice. We found this like later on. I mean, this is a movie that like I know that it has its popularity, and like people who like the Coen Brothers, they know it. But this is definitely like, it's like it's
kind of underrated.
30-year-old movie.
It's been on my list forever because it's Coen Bros. It's another one that I definitely rented from the library and did not watch.
I just didn't watch. But dude, I think it will age nicely.
I think it has.
Personally,
yeah, I think it has.
I like with Coen Brothers, the fact that I clicked with this one so fast is kind of interesting because usually it's the second viewing that I fall in love with one of their movies. I'll watch it and it'll leave an impression on me, but then I have to see it again because like The Big Lebowski was like one of the biggest ones that I just didn't get.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is fine, but then on the second viewing, I was like, oh fuck, this is great.
Well,
and so
yeah, for sure. Because I've always been like, people have been always gushing about the Coen Brothers, and I've always been like, yeah, they're good, but like, I wouldn't put them in my top 5. Maybe my top 10. But now I probably would. But it's because I've been watching more of their movies, and as I've gotten older and rewatched some of them, I've had more of an appreciation. Because remember, if you go back and listen to our No Country for Old Men episode, my first time viewing No Country for Old Men, I did not like it. I thought it was fine, but but now I think it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've watched it like 3 or 4 times since then, and I do feel like a lot of their movies do. Like, I'm also surprised I gelled with it so much on the first viewing.
Yeah,
Because
I did not expect to like
I have
it
a
so much.
similar opinion where it's just like they kind of like you settle into them, like they're fun the first time, but then it's just like you have more of an appreciation and like longevity rewatch. Curious, do you? I'll look up a Reddit here in a sec, but do you have a money minute? Because I do think the one thing that was noticeable for me was the budget. I can tell where they used it and where they didn't. But I really kind of appreciated that, though, because it's just like, the sets. So a lot of the sets looked pretty barren. Some of them. And I was like, oh, okay. But that's okay because that's like.
But I think it. I think it kind of.
It kind of adds to it to me. I don't know.
It adds. I think it adds a lot to like the time period too.
The time period.
And
it's still got a rawness, and it also gives me that movie kind of like almost hyper surrealist vibe of being like, this is an extended, like this is like theatrical almost, like because they're
theatrical. Thank you, because that's
their dialogue is not like realistic. Obviously, the whole time it's like that's like people don't talk like that really.
There's such a charm though to this. Their earlier films, like you can tell they're making a movie, and like they really like they can make up for like a sparse set with camera movements.
Yeah, well, they do.
And
that's the thing. It's like I would only barely notice, other than like the wallpaper in like some of the rooms. I'm like, there's just like they just threw that shit on there like the day before that morning or something. Like,
or like you can tell you're like, well, this is only 3 walls and no ceiling. And like,
which
you
is fine because it's like it's like I feel like they're really stretching that buck to like really make the bigger scenes really work.
Yeah,
and then it's just like. This doesn't have to. We don't have to come in and do like a Paul Thomas Anderson, where it's like this perfect period piece, where I like basically brought a house back from the dead, from the 50s to make it happen. It's like they're like, no, it's like this is about this dialogue and this emotion. Like it doesn't. This scene doesn't need to be all that. Let's save our money for like the big shootout scene or something. Like,
the big shootout and like. I don't know. I mean, I think they probably like saved it to shoot on like nicer film because I love it. I think it looks good.
It does look
good.
I
think the film looks beautiful.
I want to watch it. I kind of bummed it out because I put up the first version I put up on the Plex was like a lower quality version. Yeah, it was like a 780 or something. But
whatever, 720 or whatever.
720. I mean, and I wish I would have watched it at a higher resolution slightly because it didn't look as crisp as I would like it to. But I did re-upload it because that file wasn't working for GAT or something. So I re-uploaded a higher quality version. So I would love to see like a more HD. And next time I watch it, because it looked really great. And I was like, that was one thing I noticed just on my viewing. I watched like the slightly lesser resolution. So it was kind of blurry for me, and again, I watched it with my kids running around, and I watched it in 3-minute chunks. So next time I watch it, watching the higher quality, I'm gonna sit all in one sitting and enjoy it.
I think you'll appreciate it. I think this is definitely one that will like.
Well, I give it 4.5 stars because I was smitten with it.
Yeah, and I think it'll probably I give it 4, and I think it'll sit at a comfortable 4.
Yeah,
I'll watch it again, and I'll like it because dude, you got to see like the fire looks so good. Anyways, but yeah, the money minute on this is like. Pretty wild. They got 14 mil.
Oh, that's pretty good
to produce it, which is like that's definitely like in the mid like the higher low budget.
That's pretty.
Area.
That's pretty good for like the late 80s
like,
when they filmed it. You know what I mean? It's like 89 or whatever. That's pretty solid. And it's like it's because they had a little bit of a reputation starting. It's like
I think
people started to
coming,
believe in them.
Yeah, and they do a lot of their own self-funding too, so that helps a lot. And they go around and they get it backed, but it only made $5 million, which is
that's too bad.
It's like, which is fine. I mean, it's funny because it's like you see these like younger films, and like they're like, oh wow, okay, those are like really bad margins. How'd they persevere? And I think it's just like their personal like dedication to film. And then I think just you have like they're probably behind the scenes. They're probably like really fun to work with because everybody who I was like watching interviews on, they were all just like, yeah, the Coen Brothers fucking rock. Like they're in like the Wes Anderson status where like people are just like, yeah, I want to work with them. Like they get to stick around for so long, not because they make money, but because they make connections and like.
Well, it's because they make great cinema.
They make
you
sets.
know what I mean,
They make sets you want to be on. Yeah.
That's they walk the balance because it's like, you know, they do make kind of money, but like I'm looking at their movies and it's like I guarantee you a lot of these didn't make a ton of money. But
right. No. Yeah. I don't think so. And
now I want to go rewatch all the old '90s ones though. I want to rewatch Hudsucker.
Well, dude,
I want to rewatch
Hudsucker
Fargo, like I said.
Hudsucker was one of my favorite. I saw it in high school for one of my film classes, and like
I think we saw it together because I remember we were always just like, you know, for the kids like the whole time.
You know, for kids. Yeah, and he holds it up. It's like it's a movie that like I don't remember the storyline details personally, but I like remember like the feeling and the characters and the performances and that ending, and of just being like, oh fuck, this is so dope. That's what they do. They create I don't know, fables, like you said. Like they create like dream-like movies where it's like they're cool and they're fun, but then they break the like they kind of break the rules and then they'll keep it a little grounded. It's like it's cool. Like especially with Hudsucker, it's like the ending is like fucking a Christmas miracle, but yet it's still pretty grounded in the reality of the movie. And so I don't know, man, it's pretty cool. And it's cool they edited this movie themselves under the pseudonym Roderick James. Oh, and they did that with Raising Arizona and the Hudsucker Proxy too.
I think now though, I'm looking at their movies. I think now I've seen every Coen Brothers movie. I think that was the last. I think that was the last one.
Whoa! That's crazy.
I don't really remember Intolerable Cruelty very much. I just remember when I saw it, I didn't realize it was a Coen Brothers movie, but I was sneaking in to go see, because it went 2003, I was 13, 12. And so I was sneaking in to go see the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre with my friend, and we bought tickets to Intolerable Cruelty, but then we went into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre theater, but nobody else bought tickets to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And obviously, this is back when everything was filmed, so they just didn't play it. They just didn't run it.
They just didn't. Yep.
So we ended up saying, fuck it. And so we ended up going to watch Intolerable Cruelty like 20 minutes into the movie. And we're pissed off, and we were just like, you know, grumbling and smoking weed and talking. Because we were like, we wanted to go see Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So that one I didn't need to rewatch.
I mean, that can count. That counts technically, but
it technically counts. I'm gonna technically count it, but I don't really. I couldn't.
Did you see? What is that like? Paris, I Love You.
Paris Je t'aime or whatever. Like, because that's like a short anthology.
The vignette. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that.
I did watch it. It was alright.
And I haven't seen The Tragedy or Hail Caesar, so those are like the two I haven't seen. But I've seen every. Oh, and A Serious Man.
Hell Caesar Rules. Actually, I haven't seen The Tragedy Macbeth either. Actually, now.
Oh, okay.
You're right.
Sure.
So that's the last one.
I mean, sure. You're fucking. You've done pretty good. I need to go back and.
Anyway, let me before we get too off the railsies again, we're getting near the end. So I got a couple of Reddits. So another Gary says, my college roommate and I were obsessed with Miller's Crossing, that we got the screenplay and recorded audio of ourselves doing all the dialogue more than once. It's gorgeously shot by Barry Sonnenfeld, but the plot, like all great detective films, is needlessly complicated. It's all an excuse to have great actors on beautiful sets perform poetic dialogue. If that's your thing, it's one of Coen's best, for sure. That's great. Yeah. I would love to hear that. The recording.
I know, right? You got some. You got some recordings posted on Reddit, baby.
Even if they're not good, I just think it's fun because it's just like
post like some segments. Yeah.
It's like we had moments like that back in the day, and
oh, dude,
recreating
we need to put,
and like doing like homages.
We should
to
put all our
shorts
movies and stuff, dude.
We should. It's like I remade in high school for one of my high school classes. We remade a whole scene from No Country for Old Men.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we did post that on Reddit.
I think we did put that one on there when we did No Country. But I love seeing stuff like that because it just shows it's just like, man, once those hooks, those filmmaking hooks, like get in you on the early age too, when you're just like trying to recreate that stuff. And so I'd love to hear it. I know you probably don't have it or you don't want to show it, but if you got it and you're willing, put it on the fucking Reddit. I would love to hear it. Anyway,
Hell yeah.
so Training Confidence One says, I think it's amazing. Took me a couple of viewings to really follow the story, but well worth it. Not just my favorite Coen Brothers film, but maybe in my top 10 of all time. Character, story, dialogue, cinematography, music are all fantastic. Hard to disagree with that. So, Clones of People 2 says, my second watch of this, but I did not remember much from the first time around. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan, and I find it a little rough and disjointed. The tone is off for me, too, and I am not sure if it is totally serious piece or the typical comedy caper that I expect from the Coens. It feels somewhere in the middle, and for me, that takes away from the film. Am I supposed to laugh at the crazy amount of guns the cops have, or Leo's blaze of glory shootout at his home? They are ridiculous scenes, but Phil... Oh, my God. Hold on.
Oh, faux pas.
I know.
Silence your phones in class, people.
Let me say it. It did have great parts. Gabriel Byrne is a treat. Some wonderful witty dialogue and complex, almost too complex plot. Overall, I feel like this is Coen's growing into themselves as filmmakers and polishing towards their best work, but they are not quite there with this one. It's a solid 3 out of 5 for me. I can see where you're coming from.
You know what? Actually, the more I think about it, I understand why this does. I thank you for commenting. I agree. Yeah. I think the reason it's because that's what I'm saying. Like, I wish it, like, the story is fine, but the Coen Brothers just created a decent enough plot with enough twists and turns that it kept you occupied. But you were like, that was just like, that's basically, you know, just the like map to get you there, and you're just like, you're looking at all the scenery of the dialogue, and you're looking at like, it's like the shootouts and stuff. And I think the shootouts are supposed to be comical. Like, they fucking get like a Gatling gun out to, like, it's all overkill, and that's the point. Like, it is supposed to be, like, it is supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be so funny because it's like this is the efforts that the characters are going to like get their, you know, get to conclude the thing that they want to, you know, achieve. And it's like it's overkill. You are supposed to be like, this is ridiculous, and that's what I think Coen Brothers do perfectly. It's like, it's supposed to just be like, this is so ridiculous.
I do think they hone it in later, but like, I do see where he's coming from. It's a little raw, and does feel slightly disjoint, like not as married as some of their other later films. But so I get that point of view, but it's like definitely their style. But like before, it was I don't know. But so Travis has a voice message, right? Yeah.
Sweet. Travis, bring it on, bud.
I'm a good boy, and I actually kind of already had it up. So here we go. Oh, but now it's not loading. Oh wait, no, here we go.
Hey guys, for me, Miller's Crossing was alright. It felt more complicated than it needed to be, with so many double crossings and chess-like maneuvers done by the main character, Tom Regan. There was so much going on that it felt a little shallow to me. As I was overlooking the Coen Brothers filmography, I counted 6 films of theirs that I've seen, and I'd say No Country for Old Men is my favorite, with Fargo in second. I'd put Miller's Crossing at 5th. Looking at Letterboxd reviews, I see a lot of people like this one the most from the Coen Brothers. So my question for you two is, what are your top 3 favorite Coen Brothers films? As a side note, I asked my mom that question today and found out her favorite movie of all time is The Big Lebowski. Thanks.
Whoa,
okay.
Sick, dude. That's a good poll.
Yeah,
Nice,
these guys are
Mom.
pretty middling on this movie, but I get it. You know, I'm not offended like some movies where I'm like, it's wet. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, right, of course. And it's like, this clearly isn't dry. This is a wet. This is like a decently, you know, this is like a bargain bin moist towelette. Like,
yeah, there's
it's wet. It's not saturated, but it's wet.
There's a lot going on that I agree. It's like kind of distracting, but it's like, I don't think it's like the point. But there is a lot of like double crossing and stuff. You're trying to figure out what side, who's playing what. And I kept waiting for Verna to be like the classic femme fatale.
Me too. Yeah.
To like really kind of blow things up, but she didn't. You know what I mean? Like, she's important, but
I don't think the Coens got there yet, because it's like later on. I really like in Fargo especially. I like the, I don't know, the agency and the like characterization of like their female characters rock in Coen Brothers movies. And like sometimes they're a little like satirical and kind of you know, a little over the top, but they're good, and I don't know, I like they're dynamic, even if they have small parts, like in No Country, you know. It's like,
So
I like how they write women, and in this one it is kind of she's can go tit for tat, but she's also just kind of like huffing and puffing, and she just runs away, and doesn't have a huge role. But
So what are your top three then?
top three's tricky. I mean, No Country for sure. Yeah, Travis, that's just No Country is like, it's in like my top probably 50 movies of all time. Like I love it. But it sucks though because I haven't seen a few of them, because Hail Caesar I hear is great.
A lot of people didn't love Hail Caesar, which is too bad. But
I don't know, dude.
I really liked it.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of tricky. It's like I feel like I'd put this in my top three, Miller's Crossing, and then I think like honestly like, God, see, Raising Arizona is so cute, but I haven't seen it in so long.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the thing. It always changes, because I just at the beginning, top of the episode, I was like, Raising Arizona's mine. But I'm like, it might not be in my top three. I don't know.
Yeah, right. That's kind of the thing. It's like, because I want the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, but that just isn't. It doesn't feel fair, because it's like I don't like every single one of the vignettes, as much, as equally or whatnot. It's like it's not a coherent story. I wish Miller Crossing. I wish they focused a little bit more on making the story, because Miller's Crossing takes place over like a week or something, it's very compact. Things are happening, there's the moving pieces happen so fast that it's like literally like maybe a weekend, like it's really fast, and like, so I kind of wish that's where it's like, I think where Godfather, it's such an epic, it goes from like being young and getting older, and like, and it just goes for, it's a whole family thing, and it's a lot bigger. But it's like I kind of wish this had a little bit more story, a little more. But I think
I think if they made it a little longer to like pace it out slightly a little bit more, the information, I think that would help that. But then it would take away from like how fast information is given to you in this movie,
and that's what I like.
Through dialogue,
the dialogue would kind of, I think, would get, because it's like it's so much that it's like you need those times to like breathe.
The only times you do get to breathe, he's like sitting and brooding and smoking in his apartment or something.
Right.
One might be. One's definitely top three. See, I don't know the order, but it's like No Country, Miller's Crossing, I think for sure, Raising Arizona, and then like maybe interchangeable in there is Oh Brother for me.
So yeah, Oh Brother's huge, dude. And I'm bummed, because I hated True Grit the first time I saw it, and like I
agree with you, because
I like her.
We were so rock hard for westerns, and then we saw it, and we're just like, whatever. Like it's like fine.
Like her, the girl in it, who I spaced it now because we watched this and we talked about it.
Go watch our True Grit episode, because we still are like we don't love the back end a little. Some of the back end's kind of weak to me.
Yeah, the back end's hella weak. But dude, that Haley Steinfeld or whatever, dude, she rocks.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking loved her. And so it's like, she like carried the movie. Even Jeff Bridges was like fine. He was cool, but like, she straight up carried that movie.
See, I need to see Big Lebowski again, because it's like, I used to really like Big Lebowski, but I watched it like too much back in the day. So I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it in like 10 years. But I watched it like a buttload back in the day, because I thought it was great. And it is great, but I should give it a rewatch. So anyway.
See, The Man Who Wasn't There, I remember liking so much, but I barely remember anything about it. Anyways.
I need a rewatch. There's a lot of movies of theirs that I need to rewatch, because again, I always feel like I'm like, Coen Brothers don't blow me out of the water, but the more I think about them, the more I like them. So I'm like, maybe they should.
Well, and dude,
more, so I don't know.
Did now I feel bad. I don't think Travis didn't mention all the movies, right? Did he? All
the six that he saw. No, because now I'm curious. Tell us, Travis, or tell Jordan at least, what you said Miller's Crossing was number 5. What's number 6?
Yeah.
Because I know what number 1 is, but what's your least favorite one then? Because if there's one, because this movie you're like, yeah, it's okay. It's got some issues, is what you're saying, but then there's one below it. I'm curious which one that one. What that one was.
I want to know. What's your most anticipated Coen Brothers movie to watch?
that you haven't
that'd be
seen.
fun to hear.
Which one looks the funnest to see? Yeah.
Anybody out there in podcast land, please come to our Reddit, come to Facebook, Instagram. Let us know what's a Coen Brothers movie that you're anticipating.
I wish people would vote that way on the polls and not vote with just whatever's the most popular. Sometimes you guys do, but I always vote for one that I want to see them if I haven't seen it that I want to see, or one that I really liked and I need a rewatch. I'm gonna just move on because I got nothing else to say about this movie. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
I loved it.
We really liked it. Obviously, some people don't have as high opinions of us on it, but that's cool. So, but check it out for yourself. And I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably have. So, I'm great. So, as far as the polls go, so this next week, because I was just talking polls, this next week we're doing Linklater, and I should have known. I should have known that Dazed and Confused would win, and it did. So we're watching Dazed and Confused next week. And I don't know if you can tell by our tone. I had to put it on there, but we're both like kind of disappointed because I think it's fine.
I'm ready for a rewatch, though.
Exactly.
Because I've only seen it twice.
I've only seen it once, and it's been 10 years probably, or a little more. And I remember thinking it's fine. It's not as like unique as a lot of Linklater stuff.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, not that many people voted, but I do feel like this is an instance of like, oh, Dazed and Confused is popular, and I like that. Clink. I feel like Gen Xers really love Dazed and Confused because, like, my uncle was obsessed with Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah.
Dazed and Confused is the American Graffiti for the boomers, so, it's like...
Yeah, pretty much.
That, yeah. So it's like, I'm excited to see it.
I'm excited to rewatch it again.
I'm just excited to talk about Matthew McConaughey, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get in the head space and kind of just go for the vibes because it's like that is something Linklater. That's why I love him, man. He's very versatile. He can do like very chill movies with like low stakes and just like chill vibes to really intense psychological and then like things that are just like fun. I don't know, man. He's all over the place and I really like that. So, but. I'm sad Tape only got one vote. And I knew it wouldn't win. I knew it wouldn't even come close. But Tape is super underrated. Like, go watch Tape. It's like, it's got 2 huge stars in it, too. There's only 3 characters in the whole movie, and 2 of them are like, one's Ethan Hawke and one's Uma Thurman. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
And it's literally,
Tape's dope.
It's a play. It's literally just all in one hotel room, which Tape will make it back on a fucking list because we are eventually going to do all in one setting because we keep talking about it.
I guess it's like all in one setting or we 24-hour movies.
We were gonna. I think that's 2 separate things, but we want to do.
Okay.
I mean, we could.
But there are movies that overlap that take place in one setting and then are 24 hours. Anyways, but we'll argue semantics off the air and let you kind folks go home. And if you check out our Patreon, we would love you forever and give you kisses. And we could afford to take an airplane down to your home and shake your hand.
Oh, I wish.
That's what we would do.
It's going to take a lot of Patreons, though, guys, so let's bring it together.
Bring it on.
Do it. All right.
Bring it on.
So, Dazed and Confused, watch it. Stay tuned for next week. Thank you for listening to this episode. We love you. And good.
Yeah. And for patrons, we got a little bonus episode coming up at the end of the month.
We do. We're getting back into it.
And
we got it coming.
We're going to start having that so we can have a bonus episode every month.
Let's just tell them what it is if they're listening. Because, I mean, we already know what it is. And then that way they can go watch it because we haven't quite figured out how we're going to make a post about it. We're going to watch Evil Dead Rise because neither of us have seen it. And that's going to be our bonus episode for the Patreon this month. So...
Sweet.
Go watch it and go be a Patreon, and then you can listen to that episode.
You can comment on an episode and tell us how scared you got. You get real scared by the zombies.
I'm scared.
The Deadites.
So we'll see. Because speaking of Sam Raimi getting shot to death, right? So in this week.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, great.
Yeah. Anyway, so
that's the segue.
Goodbye.
All right, everybody. Goodbye.